All right. Now we're live now. I guess I had a little hiccup earlier today, but sorry about that. So, want to start into it. We'll get right into it. I want to discuss some of the recent news that we've seen coming from Google. Recently, as you can see, they have 68% of Google searches now are without a single click. Now, your SEO strategy is out here working for free, and this is all thanks to Google. So, uh, right now, almost a quarter of all the searches that are used to send clicks somewhere gone, completely gone. Between 2024 and 2026, click generating searches dropped 22.9%, almost 23%. And that's not a dip. That's a collapse. I mean, that's just a complete drop in what we're used to expecting, especially from Google right now. What we would like to see, what we're used to seeing, it's just not the same anymore. And Google's AI mode just crossed 1 billion monthly users. So people are ramping up on Google AI. So this isn't slowing down. Zero click is the default now. That's what we're going to. Organic reach is becoming the new Facebook reach. And we all remember how that ended. So uh, here's what, the people who want to quickly panic, this is what they won't tell you, that branded, local, and high intent transactional searches still deliver clicks. You just have to be very tactical in how you set those campaigns up. That's exactly where you see your paid budget needs are going to be right now. So if you're a marketer thinking about some of these things, this is information that's coming from some of the latest in search engine land. Let me share the article that I was pulling this data from. So just a moment here. Let me share my screen. And let's see. Let me add that to the stage. Here we go. So, as you can see, Google's AI answers keep more users on the platform with AI overviews, reducing click-through rates, and AI mode can soon, accelerate this particular trend. So, as you can see, people aren't using their regular searches as they normally would. They're making those searches and they're going straight to AI mode. So, a lot of the, being first in that search engine results page, that's increasingly more important, and not just the first, but you want to be the most reliable, the most direct, people where people can really find the answer that they're looking for. AI mode and zero click isn't going anywhere. This is going to get bigger before it gets better. I'll put it to you that way. AI overviews now appear on more than 20% of the Google searches, according to the research. So when they do that, the click-through rates are going to drop. They're going to continue to drop. Almost a quarter of the searches that are used to send clicks somewhere, they're completely gone now. So what they're not really making clear to you is how much of a decline this has really been. They're just kind of acting like this is normal. This isn't normal, framing the search engine results page as a increasingly large, I should say, closed ecosystem. Crucially, if it highlights that, branded searches, local queries, and high intent type of transactional searches, this is what the categories where SEO is going to be highly valuable. And so this is interesting news coming out of Google. I just wanted to share that with you all. But overall, what I'm seeing is some drastic changes coming from not only Google, but also Meta and how they operate with AI in general from a lot of different aspects, not just how their product is getting out there and how people are using their service in a way that's going to be beneficial for their businesses, both enterprise related businesses and, you know, small, medium sized businesses, your mom and pops. If you're not staying on top of these and finding ways to use AI to your benefit, it's going to and completely encapsulate you. which is really disappointing for, I know a lot of people who are small business owners, and this is something that they're all struggling with at this point right now. So, with that being said, I really hope that some of these things really start to get better, and we really start to look at the negative impacts, not just the positives of AI. Um, Another thing that I'm looking at right now, of over 100,000 tech workers lost their jobs in 2026, and AI is basically signing those pink slips. That's kind of what it is. The trade is official. Your job for an AI subscription is basically what Wall Street is clapping at. They're seeing how things are trending. Meta spent 145 billion on AI, and they cut about 10% of their own people uh, quickly after that. It's not a coincidence. That's a strategy. Trust me, people. They're not playing around with this. The unfortunate thing is, and the part that I'm starting to see, I would say, hesitancy from some of these tech companies is that, a lot of them are making these rash decisions on letting people go, making these massive layoffs from relying on AI, and it's not really, it's all premature. I'll put it that way, because when you take away the human element, especially from some of these businesses, it makes it clunky. I can tell you that right now. Amazon just cut 16,000 corporate jobs. Meta cut 8,000 corporate jobs. That's 10% of their overall workforce. I mean, it's happening across the board. These aren't struggling companies. They're not. These aren't companies that are just hemorrhaging money or anything like that. They are profitable. They are choosing these machines over people. That's basically what it is. AI layoffs across, Oracle and some of these large organizations. Nobody wants to say it out loud, but that's what this channel is for. This is me saying it out loud. Marketing and ad roles inside some of these big tech companies are gone too completely. If Meta is cutting out its own ads division staff, if there's no marketing team anywhere, should we really feel safe sitting still? Should we? I mean, think about it. What are we really dealing with at this point that is really going to make a difference from what AI is taking over at this point in so many different ways? And so, marketing and advertising roles are going to get at these big tech companies are going to continue to dry up. And the other aspect of it is we're starting to lose that beginning class of marketers. And when I say the beginning class, I mean like people just fresh out of not fresh out of high school, fresh out of college. Uh, all these young people who are eager to get into these tech companies and start building out strategies and working as interns and learning as much as they possible, soaking up as much information as they possibly can from some of these places. That we're starting to see that not completely die out, because I still see a few good internship programs here and there. I don't know how well funded they are. I don't know how much they actually nurture those people and what really happens from them. But I know when I got first started into the industry, that was something that they really relied on, was the interns, the first and second year people who are still learning their chops and learning how to navigate the nuances of digital marketing and the, for lack of a better phrase, the grunt work, I should say. Um, a lot of these people who are, were consistent in pulling reports and building out dashboards and doing some of the in platform, pacing updates and budget changes and the tedious tasks that are very necessary, that AI is slowly eliminating, both on the platform side and on the agency side. So the platforms are taking out the need for a lot of those manual tasks slowly but surely. I mean, you still got to do your search query reports. I recommend still doing those. You still got to do your budget pacing, and you still got to make sure you're not, blowing out crazy budgets on the first week of a campaign. All these things you got to continue to monitor, but AI is making it easier to keep an eye on those types of things by putting in flags and all that kind of stuff. And so, one, that's not necessary anymore, and then two, a lot of these older ad units where it was necessary to be a little more hands-on with the management, those are going away. And so it's a little easier to kind of take a look at how a Performance Max campaign is performing versus getting down to the granular keyword by keyword level data, understanding the match types and trying to figure out, should I keep this keyword here? Is it giving me the value that I want, or should I pause it and move something else? Or should I, what should I do with this particular ad group? And so a lot of that is less necessary than it used to be. And it's going to continue to slowly, gradually become unnecessary. And that's that's what people need to remember. And if you thought about AI layoffs were coming someday, they've already passed the 100,000 mark. Meta is spending, billions of dollars, and the C-suite, what they've done is they've done the math. They've done on the math on the machines, and they have better ROI. But I think eventually they're going to start to see cracks in the concrete and seeing that, a lot of people don't like the personal aspect moving away, not just from a customer service standpoint, but from a worker standpoint, and from replacing, you can't replace HR, unfortunately. When you replace HR with that makes it even a little more tricky, because now you're hiring and firing based on AI, and certain people aren't getting, seen by the necessary people that need to be looking at them. And it's really getting challenging at this point, especially, from a marketer standpoint. So if you're not trying to find ways to add value along with the AI and show that, hey, I'm capable of helping this AI improve so that as a business we can improve. That's where we need to be focusing our attention and focusing our efforts on gradual improvements that are going to make a difference in our day-to-day work life, but also help us grow along with the AI. So rather than letting it, chew us up and spit us out. Another thing that I've seen recently as well is some additional AI MarTech tools that have dropped recently that are pretty interesting. 2 tools dropped this week that should be making everybody in the marketing agency world a little bit nervous. But I think it's really something interesting to look at. Let me see if I can pull this information up here. But basically what it is so at Creative Studio, they're now producing these TV grade video, audio, and display banners autonomously. So they don't need a director, there's no editor, there's no production house needed. It's just the quality gap is officially closed when it comes to some of these, creative ways of putting out some, innovative assets that people are really going to engage with. The Salesforce dropped some marketing agents that qualify leads. They help build out content and launch campaigns and optimize across channels without having a human having to touch anything, which is interesting, because this is just what I was talking about, right? I mean, basically all of these small monotonous tasks that a junior level associate would be using is, Salesforce has just basically created an agent for this. Now people are going to be looking at this. There's going to be agencies out there that are going to be trying to adopt this into their own frameworks. And I know Salesforce is going to be out there gunning and trying to, get this in front of as many CMOs as possible on the agency side and client side, so that it can take out some of those other lower level jobs, those 50 to 75 and to 85K range, lower to mid level jobs, manager and under associates positions. That's going to eliminate a lot of these, especially when it's you know qualifying actual leads, especially if it's already using Salesforce data. Think of that. You got Salesforce already telling you, hey, these are the qualified leads that we have. These are the lookalikes we can build from these particular audiences. This is what our current audience frameworks show and our own framework. It's just making this putting all that CRM data to work. That's what it's that's what they built out. And hopefully it's something that a lot of these new innovative organizations can use. But as marketers, we got to think of a way to use it for our own benefit. Like, how are we teaching these Salesforce platforms to really target the leads that we're trying to target to drive business growth? And that's not a future update. That's a replacement. I mean, this is what people are replacing themselves with. And here's the real play of it all is whoever owns the agent layer owns the actual CMO's budget decision. So Salesforce isn't selling software anymore. They're selling the control of your entire marketing operation. That's exactly what they're doing. They're selling the control of your entire marketing operation. If you still have ads that you're running manually and you're wondering why your ROI is slipping, you might need to reach out to me so we can start figuring out ways how to implement this Salesforce platform into your organization, thinking about what ideas you can do to improve on this particular platform and how you can use it to drive that business growth. Because if you're not paying attention to your own data, if you've got this vast amount of information on the types of consumers that come to your product and service, and people, what the lifetime value of those users are, what the customer acquisition cost is. If you're not, using these in a ratio that's going to help you drive business growth and invest that marketing budget, in a way that's going to be highly efficient for your business, and acquire the users that you actually want to be trafficking your business, then you're not using this AI to your benefit, and if you need somebody to help with, building out a framework that's going to be best used underneath this Salesforce platform. Hopefully I'm trying to get into some of my own personal context so I can get some more details on what this platform looks like. I really would like to, kind of walk through it here on my platform for you guys. That would be great. But initially, these are the kinds of things that I like, that I geek out on. These are the things that I gotta geek out on, because as much as I hate to see, how many jobs it's taking from people in my industry, I get excited when I see the cool innovations that my industry is, gaining access into. And that's what really kind of, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, excites me about some of the changes that I'm seeing. And hey, I'm doing my best to try to learn as quickly as possible and become as amendable as possible to some of these changes, so that I can keep on top of my game. I gotta stay on top of my game, and so that's part of it. And reading some of this new information from some of these platforms, just like, I'm sorry, this is the other article I was looking for. Let me share my screen for this Salesforce platform I was just discussing. In just a moment. Stop screen share. All right. All right. You see that? So this German court says, Google can be liable for their false claims in their AI overviews, which is interesting because I know a lot of the AI overviews that are being generated are coming directly from some of these websites that, of course, Google is crawling and trying to figure out, hey, this is this quality information? And that's the part where the human element is necessary, because there's no human behind this. It may look like valid information, and it may be coming from a valid business or a valid publication. And people are wondering, okay, is this quality information? And it could literally be all AI generated, made up stuff. Like, who's validating the accuracy on some of this information? And that's the part that is concerning to me. And so, with a lot of these new technologies and some of these new methodologies, the recommendation is to have some new models that are audited by actual people. Of course, the methodology tracks for a lot of these new networks. I mean, I'm scrolling through all of these different platforms and all of these new AI launch frameworks that are coming out, and some of these I've heard of, some of these I haven't heard of. And it can be overwhelming, and these things are taking over. So if you're not learning how to be a part of some of these organizations and put yourself in a place where you can have an influence over some of these language models, and you can help Chat GPT and Claude, add some equity here, make it a little less biased and more neutral to what real life is. A lot of these things have just an inherent bias that is hard to kind of untrain. You kind of gotta, I don't know what the solution is, to be honest with you. I wish I did. I wish I knew what the solution to some of these biases that exist within these AI platforms, just so that I can understand, hey, this is how we need to adjust our way of thinking. And from an AI standpoint, it's going to be a consistent challenge, a consistent battle, trying to stay ahead of the game when it's constantly evolving, it's constantly teaching itself, it's constantly evolving. And if you're not in front of the evolution, you're going to get left behind. That's just the bottom line of it. And it's unfortunate, some people will get left behind. Not everybody can stay on top of their game like they would like to. But it makes you really think about how some of these, how the evolution of some of these things have happened. And it's no different than, I mean, if you're old enough like me to remember the .com boom, and that's how Mark Cuban, of course, got popular when he sold his video platform to YouTube, and all these things. Or what was it? Broadcast.com. These things in the early 90s when the internet was all started up. This is the new, way of doing things. Pretty soon the internet is going to be obsolete. I mean, what would we need it for if we can reference AI to, pull up this information? A lot of after a while, it's just going to become obsolete on its own again. So maybe I'm just rambling. Maybe it's just, me talking out of my ass, whatever. We're going to get this content out, and I'm going to keep doing what I do, and hopefully informing people and making people aware of what's happening out here. Same thing as with LinkedIn. They just built, what TikTok had in 2020. And B2B brands are now about to lose their minds over it. So that's the next interesting thing that I think is coming down the pipeline. If you've been posting on LinkedIn or hoping that someone notices, they just built a whole new marketplace. So these brands can find you faster, which is pretty cool, I think, with this new creator marketplace today, brands can now discover, vet, and partner with professional creators, okay, by the topic of their own expertise. The gap between B2B and the creator economy, it really just closed with this new platform from LinkedIn. So that's really interesting in itself. The real story isn't really the marketplace itself, that 70% of the marketers are already abandoning the brand produced content for their voices, which is interesting. LinkedIn just gave them a new infrastructure so they can scale that at the at their own pace, basically. So they can scale that shift at very high speed. If you're a creator, if you're a brand, I would move on this now while this is in its alpha. Early adopters lock in premium relationships before CPMs inflate. I'm definitely going to look at this for myself and for this platform. The window won't stay open no long. So I'm interested to see what really comes from this. Keep following me if you're interested in learning more. Hopefully, I can get tapped in on this new creator framework. This might be right up my alley for this platform as well. Let's see what kind of information they got in this article. Maybe I can get a little more detail on what's really happening. Apparently, this is directly from Media Post. So I wonder really how they got access into LinkedIn's Creator Center marketplace already, if it's still in its alpha. That's my first question. I'm sure somebody, they got tapped into somebody so they can get this publication out. But as a small business owner, should I be looking for creators to partner with or trying to become a creator on myself? I'm certainly going to look into it. I find this very interesting. So if I can get more details or if I find some more details on this, definitely follow me. Let me know. I'll try to get some information about how to get tapped into that. Brands can definitely amplify their organic creator content via this thought leader ads platform that they have now through this new marketplace. So that should be definitely interesting. And I guess they're also closing their old B2B creator discovery gap that kind of had traditionally, they just had, when you think about it, when you think of a creator, and they're not necessarily B2B focused, it's more retail focused, somebody who's, pitching some type of product or service, or I guess a community of some sort, whether it's merch or, another lotion or another new formulation of a product, whatever that might be. The launch, these things come with some new info, and I think it'll be pretty interesting to see. So hopefully we can get some more details about that pretty soon. But with that said, I think there's going to be a lot of interesting things coming from an AI standpoint in general, especially here in the next year or two. I think we're going to see a lot of updates on some of these older platforms. And it's just going to continue to evolve. And as a creator, as somebody who's a business owner, you got to be on top of your game when we're looking at these things. And hopefully, soon we'll find some way to stay on top of that, but also create a new, I guess what would we say, a new market for employment here. And hopefully it can be supported by AI and not eliminated by AI. But with that, I guess, hey, it's been 30 minutes. I suppose it's probably a good stopping point to end my live here. But if you have any questions, if you have any updates, if you'd like to discuss any of these subjects that I just went over the past 30 minutes, please feel free to reach out. I can be contacted at AaronRD83 at all of the platforms. Just reach out to me and let me know what's going on. Thanks.